Ongoing.
And Elizabeth, what are you learning about the evidence that investigators could be reviewing here?
So, as I mentioned, those federal raids that were conducted on his homes back in March, obviously a lot of people wondering what was seized. Well, we are learning now that federal investigators are in possession of video footage that was taken inside of Combs's residence. We hear that these investigators have been contacting individuals that they have seen on this footage. One person, in addition to the accusers who have filed these civil suits, is a male sex worker. That is what a source tells me, and that they have been brought in for questioning through these federal investigators. Now, when the raids first happened, we had a law enforcement source tell us at CNN that the investigation was largely based in sex trafficking, which is what HSI specializes in. Now we are hearing that that scope has been widened and that investigators are really looking into all of these claims put forth in these civil lawsuits. That would include not just sex trafficking, but also money laundering and illegal drugs. I have a source who tells me, quote, "This is much bigger than just these lawsuits."
What's going on with all my billionaires out there? This the guy, Hoodz Billionaire. Welcome to Hoodz Billionaire TV. Big favor, big abundance. On today's episode, we gonna be talking about the feds may be indicting Diddy soon. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, man. It's really ramping up. So CNN recently reported that the feds are gonna be bringing in the witnesses from these civil suits in to speak before a grand jury so they can kind of corroborate everybody's story, man. CNN wrote this: federal investigators are preparing to bring accusers of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs before a federal grand jury. Two sources familiar with the probe tell CNN, signaling the U.S. Justice Department is moving forward to potentially seeking an indictment of Combs. Possible witnesses have been notified by investigators that they could be brought in to testify in front of a federal grand jury in New York City, according to one source. Bringing individuals who have filed civil lawsuits against Combs before a grand jury would mark a significant escalation in the government's ongoing investigation involving the producer and Bad Boy Records founder. Okay, so they are about to bring these people in before a grand jury to corroborate stories, man. So what does this mean for Diddy? Like, what does this mean for Diddy? You know, the feds are surely on his tail. They're surely after him. We've seen people beat the feds before. This has happened. Irv Gotti beat the feds. NBA Youngboy beat the feds. So we've seen people beat the feds, and but I mean, their conviction rate is extremely high, right? Like 98% conviction rate, right? They're trying to build a really, really solid case against Diddy, man. When you a billionaire, like, that has to be a top tier case. That can't be no regular case. Diddy gonna eat that up, you know what I mean? So he really just need to lay low. He need to stay out of the public sight. You know, he always like on social media and all that type of stuff. He need to let that go. He need to lay low. He need to liquidate as much as he possibly can. Have as much liquid capital as possible to fight this case. You know what I mean? He might have to spend $1 million on it, even though what's $1 million to Diddy. But this might be $1 million, $2 million case that he had to fight. Not to mention all these civil lawsuits, and you just settled with Cassie for maybe close to $50 million. So it's adding up. This ain't just like no money. This adding up. You know, it's adding up. You see how they did Kanye when they wasn't feeling him. So Diddy, like I said, he really just need to lay low. But the feds, they not playing with him. And that what they doing right now is running a smear campaign. They running a smear campaign so nobody stand next to him. So he can't get no help from nowhere. Right? Nobody can stand next to him. No company, no CEO, nobody. You know, and the people that are doing it, I mean, these are like a Stevie J type. I think it almost hurts Diddy more to have Stevie J speaking positive on his behalf than it helps him. right? So with the court of public opinion, everybody gotta turn their back on him and shine on him, right? We watched you beat up Cassie on camera, right? Stomp her out. That was wrong, you know what I mean? And that's gonna make people feel like, you know, if he did that, if you willing to do that, if you willing to stomp out a woman who not even fighting back in a towel in a hotel room out in a hotel hallway out where anybody could just come walk out at any time, pay 50 stacks to get the footage, you know what I mean? Like what else could you do behind closed doors? Like, we just gonna be real about that. Like, what else could you do behind closed doors? Like, you definitely probably can do some crazy things behind closed doors. And one of my takeaways from that whole Cassie lawsuit was that for that particular situation that she described at the hotel, it was pretty much literally word for word what she said happened in the lawsuit. The lawsuit pretty much described what happened word for word. She tried to leave. He chased her down, threw her to the ground, punched her, and kicked her. That's what she said happened, and it literally is pretty much word for word what happened. So if you didn't put no extra on that, that leads me to believe that a lot of the stuff that Cassie, I'm just speaking on Cassie, alleged in her lawsuit is probably pretty accurate. We just gonna be real. It's probably not too much on that extra. It's already been sex workers that came out and spoke on this. It's one that's getting indicted in this. I mean, that's not just getting indicted. That's getting brought in for questioning by the grand jury. He one of the 8 people that got a civil suit, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So, if that's the case, you see what I'm saying? It's all really just adding credence to what Cassie was saying. So as far as, like, I can't speak to everybody else's lawsuit. Cassie lawsuit, as crazy it was sounding, there's a lot of evidence that's corroborating her lawsuit. And if he was doing some of the things that she was saying in that lawsuit, that could go as trafficking. That could go as trafficking. Like, that could, if you forced her, drugged her, and shipped her to different places to have sex with male prostitutes, that's trafficking. There's no way around that. That's what that is. You see what I'm saying? Like, if he did that, you know, if he because I mean, it's clear in that video, it's clear she wanted to leave. It's clear she wanted to leave. Just like Kid Cudi. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Some of the stuff that she's saying in this lawsuit, it sounds so crazy, but people are corroborating it. She said Kid Cudi car, he said he was going to have Kid Cudi car blown up, and Kid Cudi car got blown up. Then Kid Cudi's agent reached out and said yes, his car was blown up. You see what I'm saying? So that leads me to believe there's a lot of evidence that point to what Cassie is saying is really true. And if it's true, the feds can corroborate that and say, hold on, we got a case here. You see what I'm saying? What else is going on? Oh, a blackmail ring? Oh, he drugging people and blackmailing them and making videos of them? Oh, he doing that? He messing with some minors? He getting drugs in? Think about it like this, right? Let's say allegedly they saying he do cocaine, right? Let's see Diddy get in 2 or 3 bricks of cocaine just for personal use and have his drug mule get it for him and stuff like that. That they could look at that as drug trafficking. They could look at that as the purchase of illegal narcotics. And if there's a paper trail for that, right? Let's say you getting 3 bricks a month just to snort up and pass out to different people. This is Hollywood, y'all. Let's be real. We're not finna be fake about it. I'm not saying he sold none, but I'm just saying just to have for them parties. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta let this unfold. But the feds feel like they got a case, and if they feel like they got a case, then we gotta see what happens next, man. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. This the guy Hoodz Billionaire, big favor, big abundance. I'm gonna get the like, share, subscribe. This the guy Hoodz Billionaire, big favor, big abundance. I'm gone.